cielo.
Buongiorno cavalieri,
Siamo gondolieri. Signorina, io t'amo.
contadine siamo,
Signorine,
contadine, cavalieri,
gondolieri. Poveri gondolieri. Poveri gondolieri. Buongiorno, signorine.
cavalieri carissimi, siamo contadine,
Servitori numerissimi, per noi questi fiori bellissimi.
signori, oh eccellentissimi,
Signorine,
contadine, cavalieri,
gondolieri. We're called gondolieri, but that's a vagary. It's quite honorary, the trade that we ply. For gallantry noted, since we were so coated to beauty devoted, Giuseppe and I. When morning is breaking, our couches forsaking, to greet their awaking with carols we come. At summer's day nooning, when weary lagooning, our bachelor is lazily from. We lazily come. Our Gondoliers tuning, we lazily when there's some ringing to hope that we're clinging with songs of our singing, a vigil we keep. When daylight is fading and wrapped in night shading, with soft serenading, we sing them to sleep. With soft serenading, and we sing them to sleep. With soft serenading, we sing them to sleep. We are gondolieri, 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 tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la. Gondolieri, gondolieri, tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la. All are young and fair and amiable beside. We really do not care a preference to declare. A bias to disclose would be indelicate, and therefore we propose to let impartial fate select for us a mate.
a bias to disclose would be indelicate.
But how do we propose to let impartial fate select for us a mate? These handkerchiefs are for our eyes, be good enough to buy, and take good care that both of us are absolutely blind. Then turn us round and we, with all convenient dispatch, will undertake to marry any two of you we catch.
They undertake to marry any two of us they catch. Are you hearing? Can you see me?
Dark and keeping, dark and dreaming.
If you're blinded, truly say so.
All right-minded players play so. your courses. Catch whichever girl you may, sir.
My papa, he keeps 3 horses, black and white and dapple grey, sir.
I will name the chief de capture. This is Tessa. Rapture, rapture. To me, Ginetta fate has granted just the very girl I wanted. Just the very girl he wanted. If you'd rather change,
My goodness, this indeed is sinful rudeness.
I've no preference whatever.
Listen to him. Well, I never. Thank you, gallant Gondoliers, in a set and formal measure. It is scarcely necessary to express affection. Each of us to prove a treasure, conjugal or voluntary, gladly will devote our leisure, gallant Gondoliers. Gay and gallant Gondoliers, take us both and hold us tightly. You have luck extraordinary, we might have been unsightly. If we judge your conduct rightly, 'twas a choice involuntary. So we thank you most politely, gay and gallant Gondoliers.
sunny Spanish shore, the Duke of Plastour,
and his Grace's Duchess too, and his Grace's daughter too,
and his Grace's private crumb to Venetian shores have come, to Venetia's good have come.
and if everything went to Spain, they will never, never, never cross the sea again. They will never, 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 never cross the sea again.
This is the ducal palace, and it is here that the Grand Inquisitor resides. As a Castilian hidalgo of 95 quarterings, I should have preferred to make my state visit on a horse. As a Castilian hidalgo of that description, I should have preferred to ride through the streets of Venice. But owing, I presume, to an unusually wet season, the streets are in such a condition that equestrian exercises are impractical. No matter, where is our suite?
Your Grace, I am here.
Why do you not do yourself the honor to kneel when you address His Grace?
My love, it's so small a matter. Still, you may as well do it.
The young man seems to entertain but an imperfect appreciation of the respect due from a menial to a Castilian hidalgo.
My child, you are hard upon our suite.
Papa, I've no patience with the presumption of persons in his plebeian position. If he does not appreciate that position, let him be whipped until he does.
Well, Glenn, let us hope that the admission was not intended as a slight. I should be much hurt if I thought it was. So would he. Where are the halberdiers who were to have the honour of meeting us here, that our visit to the Grand Inquisitor might be made in becoming state?
Your Grace, the halberdiers are mercenary people who stipulated for a trifle on account.
How tiresome. Well, let us hope that the Grand Inquisitor is a blind gentleman. And the band, who are to have the honour of escorting us? I see no band.
Your Grace, the band are sordid persons who demanded to be paid in advance.
That's so like a band.
Insuperable difficulties meet me at every turn.
But surely they know His Grace.
Exactly, they know His Grace.
Oh, well, let us hope then that the Grand Inquisitor is a deaf gentleman. A cornet piston would be something. Do you happen to have the accomplishment of tootling like a cornet piston?
Alas, no, Your Grace. But I can yodel.
Yodel? We are not the Von Trapp family singers.
I don't know how that would help us. I don't know how we can bring it in.
It would not help us in the least.
Dot, my child, our sweet feelings. Be so good as to ring the bell and inform the Grand Inquisitor that the Duke of Plaza Toro, Count Matadoro, Baron Picadoro,
And sweet
have arrived at,
Venice.
and seek
Desire.
demand an audience.
Your Grace has but to command.
I felt sure of it. And now, my love, shall we tell her? Oh. And now, my child, prepare for a magnificent surprise. It is my agreeable duty to reveal to you a secret, which should make you the happiest young girl in Venice.
A secret?
A secret which for state reasons it has been necessary to preserve for 20 years.
When you were a prattling babe of 6 months old, you were married by proxy to no less a personage than the infant son and heir to His Majesty, the immeasurably wealthy King of Barataria.
I married to the infant son of the King of Barataria? Was I consulted?
No.
Then it was the most unpardonable liberty.
Oh, consider his extreme youth and forgive him. Shortly after the ceremony, that misguided monarch abandoned the creed of his forefathers and became a Frednile disciple of the most persecuting and bigoted type. The Grand Inquisitor, trying not to see that this was perpetrated in Barataria, caused your smiling and unconscious husband to be stolen and conveyed here to Venice. A fortnight since, that misguided monarch and his Festival of Light followers followed the latest stock market crash and went to the bottom of the harbour. And we are here to ascertain the whereabouts of your husband and to claim you, our daughter, as the reigning queen of Barataria.
Your Majesty.
It is at moments such as these that one sees how necessary it is to travel with a full band.
I, the Queen of Barataria? But I have nothing to wear. We're practically penniless.
That thought has not escaped me. I am unhappily in straitened circumstances at present, but my social influence is something enormous, and accompanied to be called the Duke of Plaza Toro Limited, is in the course of formation to work with. In actual fact, 15% has already been subscribed by a bank.
Which bank?
Oh.
That's quite preparatory. Am I to understand that my father is being offered as a common share?
Oh, my dear, your father is absolutely blue chip. Very bullish. And ripe for speculation.
But it's so undignified, it's so degrading. A grandee of Spain turned into a public company. Such a thing was never heard of.
My child, the Duke of Plaza Toro doesn't follow fashion. He leads it. He always leads everybody. When he was in the army, he led his regiment. He occasionally led them into battle. He invariably led them out of it. In enterprise of martial kind, when there was any fighting, he led his regiment from behind. He found it less exciting. But when away his regiment ran, his place was at the forum. That celebrated, cultivated, underrated nobleman, the Duke of Plaza Toro. In the first and foremost fight, you'd always found that night. That celebrated, cultivated, underrated nobleman, the Duke of Plaza Toro. When to evade destruction's hand to ply they all proceeded. No soldier in that gallant band did half as well as he did. He lay concealed throughout the war and so preserved his Goro. That unaffected, undertaken, well-connected warrior, the Duke of Plaza Toro. In every job he did, he always took the lead. That unaffected, undertaken, well-connected warrior, the Duke of Plaza Toro. When told that they would all be shot unless they left the service, our hero hesitated not, so marvelous his nervous. He sent his resignation in, the first of all his Goro. That very knowing, overflowing, easygoing paladin, the Duke of Plaza Toro. See where I rose and clay, he always showed the way. That very knowing, overflowing, easygoing paladin, the Duke of Plaza Toro. That very knowing, overflowing, easygoing paladin, the Duke of Plaza Toro.
Louis, what have you said? to do?
Nothing, I trust you ever have reason to repent.
Nay, Louis, it may not be. I have embraced you for the last time.
Casilda,
I have just learned, to my surprise and indignation, that I was wed in babyhood to the infant son of the King of Barataria.
the infant son of the King of Barataria, the child that was stolen in infancy by the Inquisition.
The same, but of course you know his story.
You know the story. Why, I have often told you that my mother was nurse to whose charge he was entrusted.
True, I had forgotten. Well, he has been discovered, and my father has brought me here to claim his hand.
But you will not recognize this marriage. It took place when you were far too young to understand its import.
Nay, Louis, respect my principles and cease to torture me with vain entreaties. Henceforth, my life is another's.
But stay, the present and the future, they are another's. But the past, that at least is ours, and none can take it from us. As we may revel in naught else, let us revel at least in that.
I don't think I grasp your meaning.
Oh, yet it is logical enough. You say you cease to love me.
I say I may not love you.
Ah, but you do not say you did not love me.
I loved you with a frenzy that words are powerless to express, and that but 10 brief minutes since.
Exactly, my own. Oh, that is, until 10 minutes ago. My own. My lately loved. I recently adored. Tell me that until, say, 10 minutes ago, I was all in all to thee.
I see your idea. It's ingenious, but don't do that.
Well, there can be no harm in reveling in the past.
None whatever, but an embrace cannot be taken to act retrospectively.
Perhaps not.
We may recollect an embrace. I recollect many, but we must not repeat them.
Well, then let us recollect a few. Ah, Casilda, you were to me as the sun is to the earth.
A quarter of an hour ago.
About that.
I should think that this miserable discovery you would have been my own for life.
Through life to death. A quarter of an hour ago.
How greedily my thirsty ears would have drunk the golden melody of those sweet words a quarter, well, it's almost 20 minutes since.
Yes, about that. In such matters one cannot be too precise.
And now our love so full of life is but a silent, solemn memory.
Must it be so, Casilda?
Louis, it must be so.
There was a time forever gone. Oh, with me. It was no crime to love but thee alone. Oh, with me. One heart, one life.
to you his distinction, Don Alambro del Valero, the Grand Inquisitor of Spain. It was his distinction who so thoughtfully abstracted your infant husband and brought him here to Venice.
So this is the little lady who is so unexpectedly called upon to assume the functions of royalty. And a very nice little lady, too.
Jim, isn't she?
Distinctly Jim. Allow me. Naughty temper.
You must make some allowances. Her Majesty's head is slightly turned from her access of dignity.
I could have wished that Her Majesty's access of dignity were turned in this direction.
Unfortunately, if I am not mistaken, there appears to be some little doubt as to His Majesty's whereabouts.
A doubt? Oh dear, no. No doubt at all. He is here in Venice, flying the modest but picturesque calling of a gondolier. I can give you his address. I see him every day. In the entire annals of our history, there is absolutely no circumstance so entirely free from any manner of doubt of any kind whatever. Listen, and I'll tell you all about it. I stole a prince and brought him here and left him gamely crashing with a highly respectable gondolier who promised the royal name to rear and teach him the trade of a time and year to his own beloved Bradley. Both of the babes were strong and stout, considering all things clever. Of that there is no manner of doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
No possible doubt whatever.
But owing I'm much disposed to fear to his terrible taste for tippling, that highly respectable gondolier could never declare with a mind sincere which of the two was his offspring dear, and which the royal stripling, which was which he could never make out, despite his best endeavour. Of that there is no manner of doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
No possible doubt whatever.
Time sped, and when at the end of the year I sought that infant cherished, that highly respectable gondolier was lying a corpse in a humble bier, I dropped a grand inquisitor's tear. That gondolier had perished, and taste for drink combined with gout had doubled him up forever. Of that there is no manner of doubt, no probable possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
No possible doubt whatever.
The children followed his own career, that statement can't be harried, of a highly respectable gondolier, and one of the two will soon be here. But which of the two it is not quite clear. Is the royal prince you married, search in and out and round about, you'll discover never the tale so free from every doubt, or probable possible shadow of doubt, or possible doubt whatever.
A tale so free from every doubt, no possible shadow of doubt, no possible doubt whatever.
You mean to tell me that I am married to one of two gondoliers, but it is impossible to tell which?
Without any doubt of any kind whatever. But be reassured, the nurse to whom your husband was entrusted is the mother of that musical young man who is such a past master at that delicately modulated instrument. She can, no doubt, identify the king beyond all question.
How did you know that?
My young friend, her Grand Inquisitor is always up to date. His mother is at present the wife of a highly respected and well-established brigand who carries on an extensive practice in the mountains around Cordova. Accompanied by two of my emissaries, he will leave at once for his mother's address. She will return with him, and if she finds any difficulty in making up her mind, the persuasive influence of the torture chamber will jog her memory.
But bless my heart, consider my position. I am the wife of one, that's very clear. But who can tell, except by intuition, which is the prince and which the gondolier?
Submit to fate without unseemly wrangle. Such complications frequently occur. is one closely complicated tango. Death is the only true unraveler. Try we lifelong, we can never straighten out life's endless game. Why should we in vain endeavor guess and guess and guess again? Life's a pudding full of plums.
Who cares a canker that benumbs?
our lives to begin in real earnest. What's a bachelor? A mere nothing. He can't be said to live. He exists.
What a delightful institution marriage is. Why have we wasted all this time? Why did we marry 10 years ago?
Because you couldn't find anyone nice enough.
Because you were waiting for us.
I suppose that was the reason. We were waiting for you without even knowing it.
Good morning.
This gentleman is an undertaker. It's a bad omen.
Ceremony of some sort going on?
He is an undertaker. Oh, no, nothing in your line. Just a little family gathering.
Someone's birthday, I suppose.
Yes, mine.
And mine.
And mine.
And mine.
Curious coincidence. And how old may you all be?
It's a rude question, but about 10 minutes.
Remarkably fine children. But surely you are jesting.
In other words, we were married about 10 minutes ago.
Married? You don't mean to say you are married?
Oh yes, we are married.
What, both of you?
All four of us.
Bless my heart, how unfortunate.
You don't mind, I suppose.
You weren't thinking of either of us for yourself. Oh, Giuseppe, look at him. He is. He's heartbroken.
No, I wasn't.
Now, my man. We don't want anything in your line today. So if your curiosity is satisfied, you may go.
You mustn't call me your man. It's a liberty. I don't think you know who I am.
Not we, indeed. We are jolly Gondoliers, the sons of Baptisto Palmieri, who led the last revolution. Republicans, heart and soul, we hold all men to be equal. As we abhor oppression, we abhor kings. As we detest vainglory, we detest rank. As we despise effeminacy, we despise wealth. We are Venetian Gondoliers, your equals in all except our calling, and in that at once your masters and your servants.
Bless my heart, how unfortunate. One of you, maybe Baptisto's son, for anything I know to the contrary, but the other is no less a personage than the only son of the late King of Barataria.
What?
I trust it was the one who slapped me on the shoulder and called me his man.
One of us a king?
Not brothers.
The King of Barataria?
Well, who'd have thought it?
Well, which is it?
What does it matter? As you hold kings in detestation and are both Republicans, you will abdicate at once. Good morning.
Oh, don't do that.
Well, as to that, there are kings and there are kings. When I say we detest kings, I mean we detest bad kings.
Ah, it's a delicate distinction.
Oh, quite so. And now I can conceive of a kind of king, an ideal king, you know, the creature of my fancy, who would be absolutely unobjectionable. A king, for instance, who would abolish taxes.
And tax file numbers.
And minimum tax. And make everything cheap except gondolas.
And give a great many free entertainments just for the gondoliers.
And let off fireworks on the harbour bridge. And engage all the gondolas for the occasion.
And scramble money at Darling Harbour among the gondoliers.
Such a king would be a blessing to his people. And if I were a king, that's the sort of king I would be. So would I.
Come, I'm glad to find your objections are not insuperable.
Oh, they're not insuperable.
No, they're not insuperable.
Besides, we are open to conviction.
Yes, they are open to conviction.
Oh, they've often been convicted.
Our views may have been hastily formed on insufficient ground, may have been ill-conceived or erroneous. I've a very poor opinion of the politician who's not open to conviction. Oh, why, in Queensland, of course, there was...
He's a very fine fellow.
Yes, that's the sort of king for my money.
Then we'll consider it settled. Now, as the country is in a state of insurrection, it is absolutely necessary that you assume the reins of government at once. And, until it's ascertained which of you is king, I have arranged you reign jointly so that no question can arise hereafter as to the validity of any of your acts.
As one individual.
As one individual.
Like this.
Something like that.
And may we take our friends with us and give them places about the court?
Undoubtedly, that's always done.
I'm convinced, so am I.
And the sooner we're off, the better.
We'll just run home and pack a few things.
Stop, wait a bit. Ladies are not admitted.
What?
Not admitted. Not yet. Maybe later. We'll see.
You don't mean you're going to separate us from our wives?
Bless my heart, this is extremely awkward. But it's only for a few months after all. What is a few months?
But we've only been married for half an hour. And so you cannot have the heart our lives to part from those to whom an hour ago
not give way to this uncalled for grief. Your separation will be very brief. To ascertain which is the king and which the other, to Mauritania's court I'll bring his foster mother. Perform a mercy to declare she'll be delighted and settled. Let each happy pair be reunited.
Viva, his argument is strong. Viva, will not be parted long. Viva, it will be settled soon. Viva, then comes the honeymoon. Viva, viva, viva.
Then one of us will be a queen and sit on a golden throne, with a crown and steel, a hat on her head, and diamonds all her own, with a beautiful robe of gold and green. I have always understood. I wonder whether she'd wear a feather. I rather think she should.
Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I bring to be a regular royal queen. No huff and puff affair, I mean no huff and puff affair, but right down regular royal queen. She'll ride about in a carriage and pair with the king on the left-hand side, and a milk-white horse doesn't matter, of course, wherever she wants to ride, with beautiful silver shoes to wear upon her dainty feet, with endless stocks of beautiful frocks, and as much as she wants to eat. Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No huff and puff affair, I mean no huff and puff affair, but right down regular royal queen.
Whenever she condescends to walk, be sure she'll shine at that, with a haughty stare and her nose in the air like a well-born aristocrat. At elegant high society talk, she'll bear away the bell, with her how do you move, and how are you, and I trust I see you well.
Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No huff and puff affair, I mean no huff and puff affair, but right down regular royal queen. And noble lords will scrape and bow and double themselves in two, and open their eyes in blank surprise at whatever she likes to do. And everybody will roundly vow she's fair as flowers in May, and say, how clever, at whatsoever she condescends to say. Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. No huff and puff affair, I mean no huff and puff affair, but right down regular royal queen. Oh, 'tis a glorious thing I mean to be a regular royal queen. A right down regular royal queen.
Now bravely and honestly, remarkable hilarity, in style and recognition of our beauty and agility, as everybody gets to with the sample of his jersey, or have you been adopted by a gentleman of quality?
Replying, we sing as one individual, as I find I'm a king. To my hintermind bid you all, I'm aware you object to pavilions and palaces, but you'll find I respect your republican fantasies. You'll find I respect your republican fantasies.
I say no, we object to pavilions and palaces. How can they respect our republican fallacies?
For everyone who feels inclined, suppose we undertake to find congenial with his frame of mind, and all shall equal be. The Chancellor in his peruke, the Earl, the Marquess, and the Duke, the groom, the butler, and the cook, they all shall equal be. The aristocrat who banks with goods, the aristocrat who hunts and shoots, the aristocrat who cleans our boots, they all shall equal be. The noble lord who rules the state, the noble lord who cleans the plate, the noble lord who scrubs the grate, they all shall equal be. The Lord High high bishop, orthodox, the Lord High Coachman on the box, the Lord High Vagabond in the stocks, they all shall equal be. For everyone who feels inclined, suppose we undertake to find congenial with his frame of mind, congenial with his frame of mind, and all shall equal be. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Wherever they go, wherever they go, they all shall equal be. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Sing high, sing low, wherever they go. Wherever they go, wherever they go, they all shall equal be. The good, the bumpers, and the distant, and the butler, and the cook, the aristocrat, the boss and cooks, the aristocrat who cleans the books, the noble lord who rules the state, the noble lord who strikes the rate, the lord high bishop, all the dukes, the gentlemen in the service. For everyone who feels inclined, suppose we undertake to find congenial with his frame of mind, congenial with his frame of mind, and all shall equal be. Come, let's away, our island crown awaits me. Conflicting feelings rend my soul apart. The thought of royal dignity elates me. But leaving thee behind me breaks my heart.
Farewell, my love, on board you must be getting. But while upon the sea you gaily roam, remember that our heart for thee is fretting. The tender little
and left with absolute impunity, who put their subjects at their ease by doing all they can to please, and thus to earn their bread and cheese seize every opportunity, and thus to earn their bread and cheese seize every opportunity. We act in perfect unity. We act in perfect unity. Of happiness the very bit in baritary you may see. A monarchy that stands by with republican equality. Republican equality, tempered with equality.
Gentlemen, we are much obliged to you for your expressions of satisfaction and good feeling. I say, we are much obliged to you for your expressions of satisfaction and good feeling.
We heard you.
We're delighted at any time to fall in with sentiments so charmingly expressed.
At the same time, there is just one little grievance we should like to ventilate.
What?
Don't be alarmed, it's not serious. It is arranged that until it is decided which of us is to be king, that we are to act as one person.
Exactly.
Well, although we act as one person, we are, in point of fact, two persons.
I don't think we can go into that. It is a legal fiction, and legal fictions are solemn things. Situated as we are, we can't recognize two independent responsibilities.
No, but you can recognize two independent appetites. I mean, it's all very well to say we act as one person, but when you only give us one ration between us, I should call it a legal fiction carried a little too far.
It's rather a nice point. I don't like to express an opinion offhand. Suppose we reserve it for judgment before the full court.
Yes, but what are we to do in the meantime? We want our tea.
I think we might make an interim order for double rations on their majesties entering into the usual undertaking to indemnify in the event of an adverse decision.
That, I think, will suit the case, but you must work hard. Nothing better than hard work.
Oh, certainly. Certainly, we quite understand that a man who holds the magnificent position of king should do something to justify it. We are called, Your Majesty. We are allowed to buy ourselves magnificent clothes. Our subjects frequently nod to us in the streets. The sentries always return our salutes, and we enjoy the inestimable privilege of heading all the subscription lists to all the principal charities. The least we can do is make ourselves useful about the palace.
Rising early in the morning, we proceed to light the fire. Then our Majesty, adorning in its workaday attire, we embark without delay on the duties of the day. First we look into the facts about a new consumption tax, and then inflation figures gladly we review. Then to heighten our enjoyment we may tackle unemployment and possibly create a job or two. At the lodge we do our daily cleaning chores, dust the mantel, sweep the rug and mop the floors. Then we oil all the hinges and the locks, and wind up the ex-treasurer's French clocks. You know, it was not his ambition to be filling our position. We'd have kept him on as treasurer and not have let him go, but he often would forget his tax return form to submit. Recessions we must have, I guess he really had to go. When recession times are telling, then used furniture we're selling. There's a cabinet in Queensland that's been bought by someone's mate. Then being not so conscientious, we retire to the back benches just to fit in 40 weeks before the question time debate. Oh, philosophers may wince at the troubles of a prince when his marriage to his lady isn't all that meets the eye. But there's surely no mistaking that the stand that he is making is the gallant undertaking that he never say die. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, but the duties are delightful and the privileges great, and the privilege and pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is to run our little errands for the ministers of state. After lunch and getting giddy on a meat pie and a midi, we return to work whatever time we please. Then we'll sell the mining rights to some sacred native sites to a mining company from overseas. Then we exercise our parliamentary power, deliberating hour upon hour.
reach a resolution, and then we'll raise the harbour bridge toll once again. At the usual summit meeting, all the businessmen we're greeting, we might ask them for donations from the companies they head. Then if businessmen are wishing, we will gladly take them fishing, then we'll hold a royal commission just to find out what was said. Then in view of cravings, we prepare the evening's dinner, we will dine and serve the coffee, and at 12:30 or 1. While a mass of journos dodging, we retire to our lodging, with the gratifying feeling that our duty has been done. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, but the pleasures there are many, and of worries there are none. And the culminating pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is the gratifying feeling that our duty has been done. Oh, philosophers may sing of the troubles of a king, but the pleasures there are many, and of worries there are none. And the culminating pleasure that we treasure beyond measure is the gratifying feeling that our duty has been done. And yet it really is a very pleasant existence. They're all so singularly kind and considerate. You don't find them wanting to do this or do that, saying it's my turn now, except that nasty treasurer chap we had to deal with a while back. No, they let us have all the fun to ourselves and never seem to grudge it.
It makes one feel quite selfish. It's almost like taking advantage of their good nature.
Yes, how considerate they were about the double rations.
Ah, most considerate. But there's only one thing wanting to make our lives thoroughly comfortable.
And that is?
The dear little wives we left behind us 3 months ago.
Yes, it is dull without female society. We can get by without everything else, but we can't get by without that.
And if we have that in everything, we have perfection. There's only one true recipe for perfect happiness.
Take a pair of sparkling eyes in an ever and anon, in a merciful eclipse. Do not heed their mild surprise, having passed the Rubicon. Take a pair of rosy lips. Take a figure trimly planned, such as admiration weds. Be particular in this. Take a tender little hand, fringed with dainty fingerets. Press it, in parentheses. Oh, take all these, you lucky man. Take and keep them if you can. If you can, take all these, you lucky man. Take and keep them if you can. If you can. Take a pretty little cart, quite a miniature affair, hung about with trellis fine. Furnish it upon the spot with the treasures rich and rare I've endeavored to define. Live to love and love to live. You will ripen at your ease, growing on the sunny side. Fate has nothing more to give. You're a dainty man to please. If you're not satisfied, not satisfied, oh, take my counsel, happy man, act upon it if you can, if you can. Take my counsel, happy man, act upon it if you can, if you can. Take my counsel, happy man, act upon it if you can, if you can, if you can. Act upon it if you can, happy man, if you can.
You've got to get up early in the morning. If you do what you ought not to do, they give you visual warning. With the horse do they equip you, lots of trumpeting and drumming. Do the royal tradesmen tip you in the livery becoming? Does your turban laying in a bid on everything that flies? Do they give you one for dinner, pitch a show that comes out nice? We shall both go on requesting till you tell us, never doubting. Everything is interesting, tell us all about it. We will both go on requesting till you tell us, never doubting. Everything is interesting, tell us all about it. We shall both go on requesting till you tell us, never doubting. Everything is interesting, tell us all about it. Everything is interesting, tell us all about it. Tell us all.
What a wonderful surprise this is!
Yes, we thought you'd like it. You see, it was like this. After you left, we felt very dull and mopey, and you never wrote. So at last I said to Gianetta, I can't stand this any longer. Those two poor monarchs haven't anyone to sew on their buttons or mend their stockings or patch their clothes. At least I hope they haven't. Let's pack up a change and see how they're getting on. And she said, done. And they all said, done. And we asked old Giacopo to lend us his boat, and he said,
Done.
and we've crossed the sea, and thank goodness that's done. And here we are at last, and oh, I'm done. And so which of you is king? And which of us is queen?
That we shan't know until nurse turns up. But never mind that. The question is, how shall we celebrate the commencement of our honeymoon? Gentlemen, would you allow us to offer you a magnificent banquet?
Wonderful!
And ladies, what do you say to a dance?
Oh, a banquet and a dance. This is too much happiness.
But I saw a groom dancing and a footman.
That was the Lord High Footman.
And dear me, a common little drummer boy.
Oh, dear me, no. That was the Lord High Drummer Boy.
But surely the servants' quarters is the place for these gentry.
Oh, gracious, no. We have appropriated the servants' quarters. They're the royal apartments and accessible only by tickets obtainable at the Lord Chamberlain's office.
That's right. We really must have some place we could call our own.
I'm afraid I'm not quite up to the intellectual pressure of this conversation.
Well, you see, the monarchy has been remodeled on republican principles.
What?
All departments rank equally, and everyone is at the head of their own department.
I see.
I'm afraid you're annoyed.
No, I won't say that. It's not quite what I expected.
I'm awfully sorry.
So am I.
By the by, can I offer you anything after your voyage? Plate of macaroni and a rusk?
No, nothing.
Obliged to be careful.
Yes, gout. You see, in every court there are distinctions that must be observed.
Oh, there are there?
Why, of course, for instance, you wouldn't find a Lord High Chancellor playing leapfrog with his own cook.
Why not?
Why not? Because a Lord High Chancellor is a person of great dignity who should never, under any circumstances, be told to tuck in his tuppenny except by a nobleman of his own rank. For instance, a Lord High Archbishop may tell a Lord High Chancellor to tuck in his tuppenny, but certainly not a cook, gentlemen. Certainly not a cook.
Not even a Lord High Cook?
My young friend, that is a rank that is not recognized by the Lord Chamberlain's office. No, it won't do. I'll give you an instance where the experiment was tried. There lived a king, as I've been told, in the wonder working days of old, whose heart was twice as good as gold, and 20 times as mellow. Good fortune triumphed in his face, and in his heart he found a place for all the erring human race, and every wretched fellow. When he had relished wine to drink, it made him very sad to think that some junkie or engine must be content with toddy.
With toddy must be content with toddy.
He wished all men as rich as he, and he was rich as rich could be. So to the top of every tree promoted everybody.
Now that's the kind of man for me. He wished all men as rich as he. So to the top of every tree promoted everybody.
Lord Chancellors were cheekless brats, and beer shops in their shovel hats were plentiful as tabby cats, in point of fact too many. Ambassadors grew up like hay, like ministers and such as they, who like asparagus in May, and Jukes were 3 a penny. On every side field marsh street, small beer were lords lieutenant, with admirals in ocean's teeth, all round his wide dominions.
With admirals around his white dominions.
And party leaders you might meet in twos and threes on every street, maintaining with no little heat their various opinions.
Now that's a sight you would see, party leaders in his street, maintaining with no little heat their various opinions.
That king, although no one denies, his heart was of abnormal size, yet he'd have acted otherwise if he had been a cuter. The end is easily foretold when every blessed thing you hold is made of silver or of gold. You long for simple pewter. If you have nothing else to wear, a cloth of gold and sand is rare. For cloth of gold you cease to care. Up goes the price of shoddy.
Of shoddy, up goes the price of shoddy.
In short, whoever you may be, to this conclusion you'll agree, that everyone is somebody, then no one's anybody.
Now that's as plain can be. To this conclusion we'll agree. When everyone is somebody, then no one's anybody.
And now I have some important news to communicate. His Grace, the Duke of Plaza Toro, Her Grace the Duchess, and their beautiful daughter Casilda. I say, their beautiful daughter Casilda
We heard you.
have arrived in Barataria and will be here at any moment.
The Duke and Duchess are nothing to us.
Ah, but the daughter, the beautiful daughter, ah, you're a lucky dog, one of you.
I think you're a very incomprehensible old gentleman.
Not a bit. I'll explain. Many years ago, when you, whichever you are, were a baby, you, whichever you are, were married to a little girl who's grown up to be the most beautiful young lady in Spain. And that beautiful young lady will be here in half an hour to claim you, whichever you are, in half an hour. And I congratulate that one, whichever it is, with all my heart.
Married when a baby? But we were married 3 months ago.
One, only one. The other, whichever it is an unintentional bigamist.
Well, upon my word.
Eh? Who are these young persons?
We're the wives, of course. We've just arrived.
Oh dear, this is extremely awkward. Dear, this complicates matters. Oh dear, what will Her Majesty say?
And do you mean to say that one of these monarchs is already married?
And neither of us will be a queen?
That was what I intended to convey.
Oh, Tessa, my dear, dear child.
Get away, perhaps it's you.
Oh, my poor little woman.
Don't! Who knows whose husband you are?
And pray, why didn't you tell us all about this before they left Venice?
Because if I had, no earthly temptation could have induced these gentlemen to leave two such extremely interesting and utterly irresistible young ladies.
There's something in that.
By the way, you shall be not kept long in suspense, for the old lady who nursed the royal child is at present in the torture chamber, waiting for me to interview her.
Hadn't you better go and put the poor old girl out of her suspense?
Oh, there's no hurry. She has the Woman's Weekly, New Idea, and Cleo, and she'll be all right. However, I will go and interrogate her, but in the meantime, may I suggest the extreme propriety of you considering yourselves single young ladies. Good evening.
Well, here's a pleasant state of things.
Delightful. One of us is married to two young ladies and nobody knows which, and the other is married to a single young lady and nobody can identify her.
And one of us is married to one of you, and one of us is married to no one.
But which of us is married to which of you, and what's to become of the other?
It's quite simple. Observe. Two husbands have managed to acquire 3 wives. 3 wives, 2 husbands. That's 2/3 of a husband to each wife.
Numbers, Subius, here we are in arithmetic. My good sir, one cannot marry a vulgar fraction.
You've no right to call me a vulgar fraction. This is getting rather mixed. It's getting entangled. Let's see if we can comb it out.
In a contemplative fashion and a tranquil frame of mind, free from every kind of passion, some solution let us find. Let us grasp the situation, solve the complicated plot. Quiet, calm deliberation disentangles every knot.
I know Don Giuseppe well, that's of course a slice of blood. He is rolled under head and still distinctly he's a duck. I am victim to a Cupid, not a Byron, that is clear. He's particularly stupid, still distinctly he's a dear.
To Janetta I was mated, I can prove it in a trice. Her charms are overrated, still I own she's rather nice. I to Tessa willy-nilly, all at once a victim fell. She is what is called a silly, still she answers pretty well. She's a silly, still she answers pretty well. Now when we were pretty babies, someone married us, that's clear.
And if I can catch her, I'll pinch her and scratch her and send her away with a flea in her ear.
Won't that young lady marriage to receive her can't refuse.
See, boy, my dear, I want to make her seeking her aristocratical.
She's married just to simply you and we will have to go.
If I have to do it, I won't do it. I'm teaching to marry the man of my heart. If she marries less of my sure you're a spinster.
No matter how much I can get out of right down into mother will know her again.
If I have to do it, I won't do it.
I was days of life and good and all and twice the glow and back to Jesus.
Quiet, calm deliberation disentangles every knot.
With ducal pomp and ducal pride, the love's face covers or declares or promise, comes Barataria's high-born bride, his only symbol's bride. She comes to claim the royal hand, proclaim their graces or ye noble places of the king who rules his goodly land. Be praised and Russell's claim. She comes to claim the royal hand. Be praised and Russell's claim.
There's polite attention wishes to inform His Majesty that the Duke of Plaza Toro Limited has arrived and begs and demands an audience. And now, my child, prepare to receive the husband to whom you are united under such interesting and romantic circumstances.
But which is it? There are two of them.
It is true that at present His Majesty is a double gentleman. But as soon as the circumstances of his marriage are ascertained, he will, ipso facto, boil down to a single gentleman, thus presenting a unique example of an individual who becomes a single man and a married man in the same operation.
I have known instances where the characteristics of both conditions existed concurrently in the same individual.
Oh, he couldn't have been a Plaza Toro.
Oh, couldn't he though?
Well, whatever happens, I shall of course be a dutiful wife, but I can never love my husband.
Oh, I don't know. It's extraordinary what unprepossessing people one can love, if one puts one's mind.
I loved your father.
My love! That remark's a little hard, I think. A little cruel, perhaps. Somewhat uncalled for, I venture to believe.
It was very difficult, my dear. But I said to myself, that man is a duke, and I will love him. Several of my relations bet me I couldn't, but I did, desperately. On the day that I was wedded to your admirable sire, I acknowledge that I dreaded an explosion of his ire. I was overcome with panic, for his temper was volcanic, and I didn't dare revolt, for I feared a thunderbolt. I was always very wary, for his fury was ecstatic, his refined vocabulary most unpleasantly emphatic. To the thunder of this charter, I knocked under like a martyr. When intently he was fuming, I was gently unassuming. When reviling me completely, I was smiling very sweetly. I was smiling very sweetly, very sweetly, giving him the very best and getting back the very worst. That is how I tried to tame your great progenitor at first. Giving him the very best and getting back the very worst is how I tried to tame your great progenitor at first. But I found that a reliance on my threatening appearance and a resolute defiance of my vital interference and a gentle intimation of my firm determination to see what I could do to be wife and husband too was the only thing required for to keep his temper supple and to cool and have desire more reciprocating couple, ever willing to be wooing. We were billing, we were cooing. When I merely from him parted, we were nearly broken-hearted. When in sequel reunited, we were equally delighted. We were equally delighted, delighted. So with double-shotted guns and colours nailed to the mast, I tamed your insignificant progenitor at last. With double-shotted guns and colours nailed to the mast, I tamed your insignificant progenitor at last.
Is that when my husband sees what a shady family he has married into, he will repudiate the contract altogether.
Shady? A nobleman shady who is blazing in the lustre of unaccustomed pocket money? A nobleman shady who can look back on 95 quarterings? I mean to say, it's not every nobleman who's 95 quarters in arrear. I mean to say, who can look back on 95 of them. And this, just as I've been floated at a premium. Oh, fie!
Your Majesty is surely unaware that immediately your father was placed before the public, he was applied for over and over again.
Her Majesty's father was in the habit of being applied for over and over again, and very urgently applied for too, long before he was registered under the Limited Liability Act. To help up unhappy commoners and add to their enjoyment, affords a man of noble rank congenial employment. Of our attempts we offer you examples illustrative. The work is light, and I may add, it's most remunerative. Small titles and orders for mayors and recorders I get, and they're highly delighted.
They're highly delighted.
MPs baroneted, champ colonels gazetted, and second-rate aldermen knighted.
Yes, aldermen knighted.
Foundation stone laying I find very paying. It adds a lump sum to my makings.
Lump sums to his makings.
At charity dinners, the best of speech figures, I get 10% of the taking.
1/10 of the takings. I present any lady whose conduct is shaky, for smacking of doubtful propriety.
Doubtful propriety.
When virtue and quasher, I take in my posher and launch her in first-rate society.
First-rate society.
I recommend acres of clumsy dressmakers, their feet with their finishing touches.
Their finishing touches.
As some, in addition, they pay for permission to say that they make for the Duchess.
They make for the Duchess. Those pressing prevailers, the ready-made tailors, quote me as a great double barrel.
Their great double barrels.
I allow them to do so, though Robinson Crusoe would jib at their wearing apparel.
Such wearing apparel.
I sit by selection upon the direction of several companies' bubble.
All companies bubble.
As soon as they're floated, I'm freely banknoted. I'm pretty well paid for my trouble.
He's paid for his trouble. At middle-class party, I play at écarté, and I'm by no means a beginner.
She's not a beginner.
To one of my station, the remuneration, 5 guineas a night and my dinner.
And wine with her dinner.
I write letters blatant on medicines patent, and use any other you mustn't.
Believe me, you mustn't.
And while my complexion derives its perfection from somebody's soul, which it doesn't.
It certainly doesn't. We're ready as witness to fill any place or preferment.
A place of preferment. We're often in waiting, a junket or fating, and sometimes attend an interment.
We enjoy an interment. In short, if you kindle a spark of a swindle, flow simple to see into your clutches, into your clutches. Or hoodwink a debtor, you cannot do better.
And trot out a duke or a duchess.
A duke or a duchess. Ah, their Majesty, your Majesty.
The Duke of Plaza Toro, I believe.
The same. Allow me to present.
Oh, the beautiful young lady one of us is supposed to marry.
Gentlemen, I'm the most obedient servant of one of you.
I'm now about to address myself to the gentleman to whom my daughter married. The other may allow his attention to wander if he likes, for what I am about to say does not concern him. Sir, you will find in this young lady a combination of excellences which you would search for in vain in any other young lady who did not happen to have the good fortune to be my daughter. There seems to be some doubt as to which is the gentleman I'm addressing, and which is the gentleman who's allowing his attention to wander. But as soon as that doubt is solved, I shall say, still addressing the attentive gentleman, take her, and may she make you happier than her mother has made me. If possible. Now, there is a little matter to which I think I'm entitled to take exception. I arrive here in state with Her Grace the Duchess and Her Majesty my daughter. And what do I find? Do I find, for instance, a guard of honour to greet me? No.
No.
The town illuminated? No.
No.
Refreshments provided? No.
No.
A royal salute fired? No.
No.
Triumphal arches erected? No.
No.
The bells set ringing?
No.
Yes, one. The visitors. And I rang it myself. It is not enough. It is not enough.
Upon my honour, I'm very sorry. But I was brought up in a gondola, and my ideas of politeness are confined to taking off my cap to passengers when they tip me.
Oh, that's all very well in its way, but it's not enough.
I'll take off anything else in reason.
Oh, but a royal salute for my daughter. It costs so little.
My good sir, when we know which of us is entitled to take that liberty, she shall have as many salutes as she likes. As for triumphal arches and guards of honour, well, you don't know our people. They wouldn't stand for it. No, they're very offhand with us. Very offhand indeed.
But you mustn't allow that. You must keep them in proper discipline. You must impress your court with your importance. You need deportment, carriage.
We've got a carriage.
Manner, dignity. There needs to be a great deal of this sort of thing. And maybe just a little of this sort of thing. And just a soup song.
What song?
A soup song of this sort of thing. Oh, there you are, you little heartthrob, you. And so on. Oh, it's very useful and most impressive. Attend to me. You are a king. I am a subject. Very good. I am a courtier, brave and serious, who is about to kiss your hand. Try to combine a pose imperious with a demeanour nobly bland.
Let us combine a pose imperious with a demeanour nobly bland.
That's if anything too unbending, too aggressively stiff and grand. Now to the other extreme you're tending, don't be so deucedly condescending.
Now to the other extreme you're tending, don't be so dreadfully condescending.
For hard to see some nobleman pleased, the first if anything too unbending, off we go to the other extreme, too confoundedly condescending.
Now a gavotte perform sedately, offer your hand with conscious pride, and an attitude not too stately, still sufficiently dignified.
Now for an attitude not too stately, still sufficiently dignified.
Oncely, twicely, oncely, twicely, bow impressively ere you glide. Capital both, you caught it nicely. That is the style of the thing precisely.
Capital both, you caught it nicely. That is the style of it precisely.
For sweet to earn a nobleman's praise, a capital both, we caught it nicely. Supposing he's right in what he says, this is the style of thing precisely. This is the style of thing, the style of thing precisely.
us young chickens together. That's called tact.
This is really rather awkward. It's not fair to the girl. We ought to tell her about our situation. Why don't you do it? No, I'd rather not. You do it.
I don't know how to. Madam, that is several of us.
Gentlemen, I am bound to listen to you, but it is only right to tell you that not knowing I was married in infancy, I am head over heels in love with somebody else.
Our case exactly. We are head over heels in love with somebody else. In point of fact, with our wives.
Your wives? Then you're married?
It's not our fault. We knew nothing about it. We are sisters in misfortune.
My good girls, I don't blame you. Only before we go any further, we really must arrive at some satisfactory arrangement or we shall get hopelessly complicated.
Here is a case unprecedented. Here are king and queen of sun. Ever since marriage was first invented, never was known a case so hard.
I am extent to have been bisected by a profound catastrophe.
Through a calamity unexpected and invisible into three.
I may be said to have been bisected.
Indivisible into three. Through a calamity and invisible into three.
Or moral of soul, how can you call marriage a state of unity when excellent husbands are bisected, wives are divisible into three? Or moral of soul, how can you call marriage a state of unity? Moral of soul, how can you call marriage a state of unity? Moral of soul, how can you call marriage a state of unity? Marriage a state of union true. When half of myself is married to roots of me.
Now little loyal lieges gather round. The prince's foster mother has been found. She will declare through silver lion's sound the rightful king. Let him forthwith be crowned.
Speak, woman, speak.
We're all attention.
The news we sing, this moment mention. To us they bring.
His foster mother
Is he the king, or this my brother? Speak, woman, speak! Speak, woman, speak!
The royal prince was by the king entrusted to my fond care. Ere I grew old and crusted, when traitors came to steal his son reputed, my own small boy I deftly substituted. The villains fell into the trap completely. I hid the prince away, still sleeping sweetly. I called him son with pardonable slyness. His name, Louis. Behold his royal highness.
Casilda, is this indeed the king? Oh, wondrous revelation! Oh, unexpected thing, unlocked situation!
This statement we receive with sentiments conflicting. Our hearts rejoice and grave, each other contradicting. To those whom we adore, we can be reunited.
On one point rather sore,
But on the whole, delighted.
when others claimed thy dainty
Oh, I understand. Dictated, tated, tated.